Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and we invite you to recline back your chairs, ease all of your cares, as we bring to you our Friday night Smackdown review. And this was the go-home show before Survivor Series this Sunday. We will be previewing Survivor Series tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. But in reviewing this go-home show, I have to say, SmackDown definitely had some pep in its step. I really actually particularly like that main event between Jey Uso and Daniel Bryan, which we'll get into later in the show. We rounded out the Survivor Series teams. I liked who we got for the men's. Predictable who we got for the women. And, I think overall it's looking like a very strong card for Sunday, and this was a nice push forward. Ashton, how'd you feel about it, man?
I really enjoyed this show. I don't necessarily want to go out of my way to say that it was like a real banger of a go-home show, because I don't necessarily feel like this show made me that much more hyped for Survivor Series itself than I was before. But it was a really good standalone show. Really, I don't think there's anything on this show that I can complain about, which is what we're just about to talk about here in our first segment. But at the end of the day, just another solid entry in the SmackDown series, you know? Like, it's not like it wasn't an amazing show. It wasn't like there were any like crazy, amazing standout moments aside from maybe, like you mentioned, the main event. It was just solid. It was just good.
Yeah, all right.
Which is so much more than I expect from WWE programming, so...
Yeah, absolutely. So I think with that said, let us get into our first segment, Heat of the Night. I have no Heat of the Night, and you even said you didn't really feel like you had anything to complain about, so do you want to just get right into the review?
Yes. Let
us get right into our Friday night SmackDown review. And we open up with Big E and the Street Profits. How'd you feel about this later interaction between these two entities here?
Yeah, it was all right. It was kind of fun. I really like the New Day. I know they were on tonight. Wait, you said the Street Profits though. Did you say? I'm sorry.
Street Profits and Big E opened the show because they.
I didn't see that. I did not see that. I tuned in when the New Day were in the ring.
Oh, okay. So you missed this. To be fair, I missed the beginning of this, but essentially it was Big E defending the New Day. Street Profits saying they're going to.
I thought that was last week.
Yeah, but they keep doing it though. That's the thing. They keep going after it because I don't know if you saw they did it last week, but I think they did it the week before that too. So this has been a recurring thing.
Gotcha.
Wow, I didn't expect this to be so off to start, but yeah, they just pretty much went back and forth. Big E pretty much he really talked up the New Day because Street Profits made fun of Kofi, we're gonna, I think, hit him so hard he gets his Jamaican accent back or something like that. And Big E reminded them, you're talking about a guy that won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, 10-time tag team champions. He called Woods the most underrated performer in WWE history. He called the New Day the Picasso of punches, and I think he said the Monet or the Mona Lisa of something else. So again, I didn't quite catch everything.
Probably
but
Monet.
I will say. When Big E's in ring time is done, he'd make a hell of a manager for somebody. Because holy hell, does he know how to sell you and make you feel like you're the greatest superstars in Stone Cold Steve Austin. So great stuff there by Big E. And he also ends his side of things. And when we segue into Woods and Kofi, which you did see with the Don't You Dare Be Sour and the whole New Day intro.
Yeah, so that's why you caught me off guard because I literally tuned in at 8:04. So I didn't think that I would miss a segment in the first 3 minutes.
Dude, I didn't either because I was just getting out of the bath myself. So I get it. But I caught the tail end of it. So again, Big E, Street Profits needs to stop coming for Big E because... I liked what they did here. It's not like they got completely massacred. I just think Big E is one of the best talkers the company's got right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we go from that to Woods and Kofi, and now I'm going to give you the floor. What did you think about their promo here? And just this whole segment?
Yeah. This was really cool. I'm completely over the 30th anniversary Undertaker stuff, and of course they had to play a nod to that. But yeah, it was a really good promo as far as just kind of building themselves up. Talking about the Street Profits, and then fucking. Oh God!
Sami Zayn comes out.
Sammy. I immediately in my mind I'm thinking about Corbin because he's just the one that I'm just fuck off. But yeah, Sammy did come out first. I wish we would have gotten more Sami on the show. Like, if I had to complain about anything, it's that we didn't get enough Sami Zayn on the show. He did, like, he was the first one to interrupt the New Day, and he kind of talked some shit and that kind of stuff. But then Corbin came out, and he was on the mic more than Sami, and then Corbin ended up being in the ring more than Sami because Sami's whole character is, I don't want to fight if I don't have to. So I appreciate Sami's character work, but I just wanted more of him tonight.
Yeah, dude, he really fundamentally understands the nature of the heel, and I think he does it so much better than so many self-proclaimed heels in wrestling right now.
Yeah.
Because he withholds himself, and the stuff that you don't get to see on TV, because, like, even his Twitter work, which is brilliant, by the way, you could almost argue, I mean, maybe you have to do some mental gymnastics, is also heelish, because you know what it does? Everybody wants him to say the stuff that he tweets on a live mic. But he's like, no, you're just going to have to deal with me tweeting it. You're never going to see a promo like this, which you know I would kill. And he would. He'd get promo of the year like that. But I love how he's just always withholding in one aspect or another. Also, while we're speaking about Sami, because I agree with you, to me, he was the star of this segment. I love that Taker's old as shit. And that, you know, like, he could probably get another 10 years out of, like, cinematic matches. Because Sami dissing The Undertaker made me want to see a match between these two. Now, granted, that immediately went away the moment he stopped talking. But, like, when he's like, you know why they're doing this whole farewell? Because Undertaker was afraid of Sami Zayn so that he wouldn't have to face me for choke slamming me in Madison Square Garden. And I'm like, oh, shit. Sami's coming for everybody. You don't give a fuck. So I love Sami's energy. The guy that'll pick a fight with everyone, and if he can help it, he'll fight no one. I love that. I love that he walks that line perfectly. Like you said, Corbin comes out. He's like, New Day. Everybody's reminding New Day that they don't even go here. Nobody does it with the energy that Bianca Belair does it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. You know, I like Bianca. I'm not as big of a fan of her as you are, but I do like her. But she definitely owns that line at this point.
Yeah, definitely. So they're all kind of giving that to New Day. And honestly, like, this segment was fine, you know, because I know we all have to make a final push to Survivor Series. But it goes from one thing, which I'm actually really glad didn't happen, to another thing, because New Day tries to get Rudolph to fight Zayn and Corbin. Now, Dolph explicitly said, like, I've got no problem with Corbin. Sami Zayn, you know, I got a problem with you, it's whatever. And Zayn's like, oh, but we would totally beat you guys if we were a team, which we're not. Yeah. And I've got a very important match this Sunday, and, you know, but if we were a team, we'd beat you guys. And, you know, it's that whole thing. And New Day's trying to stir the pot, like, well, why don't you two guys as teams, you know, Rudolph and Zayn Corbin, face each other, and then the winner has face Kofi and I for the Raw Tag Team titles. And at first I'm groaning because I'm like, okay, I understand violating the brand split because this isn't a promotional pay-per-view. Like, I will give a mulligan on this for promotional purposes. But don't start defending freaking championships on non-brand shows. Like, you know, that at least we could protect the integrity. Thankfully, that didn't happen because it looked like Rudolph and Zayn Corbin were going to beat each other, and then they immediately go after
bait and switch.
yeah, which I think it was coming with the way that Rudolph were positioned. I'm like, okay, they're going to turn around, they're going to suck, and that's exactly what happened. Street Profits then come out. They kind of even the odds. Ford does a crazy dive, laying out everybody. Even Kofi kind of sells it on his face, like, whoa, shit, that man just do that? Yeah, he did, Kofi. Yeah, he did. So we go from that to an 8-man tag, New Day and the Street Profits versus Rudolph, Zayn, Corbin. Not really much to say here. I think the big narrative moment of the match was Kofi accidentally cross-bodying Ford. You know, because then it's like, oh, you guys trying to take us out? You trying to take us out? And then the other big narrative moment, because Sami Zayn feels like everything is a conspiracy, it's kind of like an updated R-Truth. And I love Truth, so what I'm about to say is not a diss. But, like, it's evolved in a way because Sammy's playing it totally, like, unironically in, like, a serious way. Like, you're against me because I speak truth to power, which, again, if you look at his Twitter, he absolutely does. You're against me because this. And, you know, he's playing it totally straight. Whereas R-Truth did get a bit comedic with it with Little Jimmy and stuff like that. And I say all this because, okay, so the one thing is Ford accidentally gets hit by Kofi. A little bit of dissension there. Second thing is Sammy's trying to avoid in-ring action because, again, you know, he's got the match with Lashley this Sunday, and as you just said, he's a heel that doesn't want to fight unless he has to.
Yeah.
I believe it was Ziggler that tagged him in. He's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And Dawkins, like, kind of throws him in. Sammy barely lasts 2 fucking minutes. Street Profits do their finishing sequence. And however I feel about Street Profits, I never want to fully give up on Montez Ford because the dude's athleticism is sick. That fucking frog splash.
He's unbelievable.
Jesus Christ, that frog splash. I mean,
the height.
Are we Are we sure he isn't partially amphibious?
Yeah, dude, it's
Jesus,
like time comes to a halt. Like time slows down when he does that move.
Yeah, dude, hard agree. Hard agree. So they pin Sammy in like no time fucking flat. And then New Day and Street Profits kind of do a pose down, with their championships. Do you have any thoughts about this?
The match itself?
Like just everything, because I know I kind of recapped everything. Is there anything you want to highlight on
your recap is sufficient.
Okay, so then we go from that to, we're kind of recapping Daniel Bryan, what happened to him, the assault from Jey Uso, main event, Jey Uso. And we see that Bryan is prepping for an interview with Caleb Braxton. And Sammy's coming through, and he's like, my hand wasn't even on the tag rope. What do you call that? You think that's a fair decision? I did not deserve to lose that match. And then he's looking at Bryan like, oh, you think this is funny? You think it's funny what happened to me out there? What, you think you're better than me? What's your problem? And then Bryan just shoves him because he starts with like putting a mask over his face.
Dude, he slapped him in the face.
I thought I saw a shove. I didn't see a slap.
Yeah, he slapped him right across the face. Zayn was like, blah, 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 like, yippering like a dog, like a fucking Shih Tzu or a Chihuahua. And Bryan just had enough of it, and he just slapped him right across the face.
He must have slapped him and shoved him, because I swear to you, I saw him also shove Sammy, which, like, really embarrassed him. Why I say that is he's like, looking down.
Oh, you know what, dude?
Like,
it might have been, yeah, you're right. I just saw a gif of it, and it was just a shove. Damn. I thought for sure that he slapped him. Man, I'm off tonight. I'm sorry.
It's okay, man. It's okay. That's why it takes two of us here. So he shoves Sammy. Sammy's looking up like indignant, like, you are so lucky I have a match this Sunday. Because I will say though,
high key, it almost would have been better if he would have slapped him, because just a swift slap across the face to be like, shut the fuck up and snap out of it, you absolutely ridiculous human being, you would have probably been better than just a shove.
Yeah, you know what? I do agree with you to a point, but I think it's almost better to me in a way that it was, because Sammy's character is so over the top with everything that, like, he's very clearly embarrassed, right? And he's just stammering like, you're lucky I have an important match this Sunday because I don't forget, and this isn't over. I'm not going to forget this. This isn't over. And then I'm going to be honest, this is where I'm a bit off. I know Bryan said something to Kayla about like how he likes to social distance, but I didn't catch the full statement. So maybe he just thought that Sammy was violating social distancing, and that's why he shoved him, because he shoved him to get him 6 feet.
That's what he was saying, was that he shoved him because of social distancing.
Right, yeah, exactly. So great stuff there. And then we could just transition right into the promo.
Yeah.
I
think we went to a commercial, and then when we came back, it was Bryan with Caleb.
Yeah, so we went to a commercial, came back, and then it was Caleb Braxton and Bryan promo. What did you think of this promo here?
I dug it. Excuse me. This was really passionate by Bryan. I love when Bryan is allowed to kind of cut his really passionate promos and talk about stuff like this. It pretty much revolved around the idea that Jey Uso told Bryan that it wasn't personal when he was giving him the beat down a couple weeks ago, or however long ago it was. Talked about how Jey has a devil on his shoulder, and so do I, and Jey is the one who should be concerned. So, like, just the passion, though, when he's talking about, like, his daughter crying every time she saw him for the last however long, and that kind of stuff. Like, Bryan's promos, when he's just allowed to just go. That's like, I was even thinking about it earlier, because we were talking about, like, if Sami Zayn was allowed to promo what he tweets. I don't even know if it would be as good, because then Alex Foster brought up, like, if people were promoing what they tweet, Malcolm Bivens would be the best talker. And that got me thinking, like, maybe the people who are really good at Twitter aren't the best promos, they're just the best writers. You know? Like, maybe people like Sami Zayn and Becky Lynch or whoever would be really, really good at writing promos for people who, I mean, specifically in Becky, in her case, and obviously Sammy's case as well, they have the charisma to pull off cutting those promos if they wanted to. But, like, if somebody didn't have the charisma to cut promos, but they were really good at Twitter, they'd make a really good writer, I bet.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you, and I'll just say that I agree with you completely on Bryan's promo. I think you summarized it perfectly. I really can't add anything to that. So moving right along, we get Adam Pearce talking about,
this was so fucking whack. I hated this.
Yeah, it was okay. So I like that Otis ultimately gets the nod, because Adam Pearce is like, I chose you because you bounce back, you're resilient. That's what Team SmackDown needs. And it was
I think
Otis.
What I hate though isn't necessarily Otis getting a spot. It's that Big E didn't get a spot. I really wanted Big E on the team.
Dude, I don't see. Now I'm starting to worry about Big E a little bit.
I'm really starting to think like maybe he's not in for the monster push that we were kind of told he might get.
Which, here's the thing, bro. Like, why? If that's the case, why split up the one thing? Now, I'm not saying Biggie can't stand on his own. I just got done saying this dude's one of the best talkers in the company.
Yeah.
But you split this dude up from his boys. Like, they're genuinely so fucking close.
Yeah, like we're not concerned from a professional standpoint. We're not concerned about them being able to hold their own without each other. It's more of like a personal standpoint of like they're best friends and you broke them away from each other. So now they have to like travel in different, travel separately and all that kind of shit. It's kind of garbage.
Yeah.
Granted, there's no traveling going on right now, so it doesn't actually matter right now. So it's like whatever.
Yeah. I just think it's really scummy if they're not going to push him. Like, what, do you want just the work environment to be unbearable? So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to be truthful, guys. I am starting to worry a bit about the Big E push that, I don't say this caustically because I'm a part of it, but we might have all imagined it at this point because I really don't
Can we
know.
go over the men's SmackDown team? Because it's Ray. Is Ray on it?
No, Ray isn't on it.
It's Rollins, Corbin,
Owens.
Oh, right. Owens is one, and then obviously we just got Otis. Who's the fifth one though? Who are we forgetting?
Jey Uso.
Oh,
because he beat Bryan.
Wow. So, what does that break down to? Owens and Otis are the faces, and then Rollins. So there are 3 heels and 2 faces because it's Rollins, Jey Uso, and Corbin are the heels, and the only faces then are Owens and Otis.
Yeah.
The 2 chonky boys are the baby faces. God, I gotta say, man, SmackDown feels bloated as fuck right now. I feel like there's so much of a deep roster. It's weird. It's like I almost feel like SmackDown and Raw should trade rosters just because I feel like SmackDown's roster is so much bigger than Raw's, and Raw has more airtime, so they should naturally have the bigger roster. But I don't know how the math works out. It just feels like SmackDown has a bigger roster. And maybe that's intentional, and maybe that's because it feels like everybody has something on SmackDown, Like SmackDown, it's such a rare thing with WWE in general, but it feel like you could go pretty deep down the roster and find pretty much something for everyone that's going on right now. It's pretty cool, honestly.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is one thing. Like, the undercard definitely seems to be very busy, and we know that fucking Chad Gable's low-key kind of a part of this, Otis kind of being on this team, because he said, we unleashed your inner alpha, and we got it done. And he kept saying, we. So Chad's already kind of leeching off of Otis. I don't know, Otis. You just lost your best friend who turned out to be a dick. Be careful who you let
Well, that's what Chad Gable's going to replace, though. He's the bounce back. He's the, what's the term here? The,
the rebound?
Thank you. God, my brain. I need to get more sleep. Jesus Christ.
But yeah, Gable just really feeling good about Otis's prospects. It was a team victory for them both. And then for the women. Okay, so here's the good thing about the women. Bayley obviously is on the team. I think we all saw this coming, right? She just got off of a dominant SmackDown Women's Championship reign. It's just a natural regression for her after losing her rematch to Sasha. However, we deal again with this bit, which again, new policy with the podcast, just going to talk very quickly. I don't like Natalya. That's it. So moving on, we know that she's going to be facing Tamina. So after that, we get a Seth Rollins promo. Really like this. I keep hearing Seth's going to be taking time off after Survivor Series. If that's the case, I think he's doing some pretty good work before he on his way out, and I fully expect him back by Rumble, by the way, if that is the case. And more or less says, Murphy, everything good that's happened to you is because of me. Your burgeoning career, even your girlfriend, Aaliyah, it's all because you followed me and you followed, the greater good. But I'm done suffering, for your mistakes. And, tonight Rollins just more or less says, like, I'm going to end you. I'm going to make you pay for betraying me after I gave you everything. So very passionate, very angry promo from Rollins. You have anything to say about this?
Rollins, no, I do not. But I'm really debating whether I want to say something about Natalya getting into the Survivor Series team or if I want to save it for tomorrow night.
I'm going to leave that to you, dude, because we do have her match with Tamina next. So do you want to?
I know. I just have like this scenario playing out in my mind, and I'm thinking like I might actually buy into it enough to make it my official prediction, which is why I'm debating whether I want to talk about it now or tomorrow.
Then I'm going to personally advise, if that's okay, that you should save it because I already
You know what though? I'm going to type it in a Facebook message to you just in case I would forget it by tomorrow, so I can go back and reference it.
Deal. while you're doing that, we got Tamina versus Natalia with Bianca on commentary, fucking slaying out there. I can already tell you guys, if you really want to hear me like go long with an idea about how the women's match is going to go, or like this women's match, I should say, in general, you're going to want to tune into Preview Predictions tomorrow night at 10, because I think I have it all mapped out how I feel personally this is going to go, and I'm very curious who agrees with me and who disagrees with me. Foster wanted you to do it now. I'm sorry, Foster. I'm just trying to promote the content, so don't be mad. I love you. But yeah, just seeing all these women come together, I think I know exactly how this is going to go down. Bayley does come out. She is also on commentary. And really, as far as the Tamina and Natalia matchup, what's there to say? I mean, I honestly would have preferred Tamina on this because I low-key kind of prefer in small doses than Natalia in full-length matches, but that's just me. Natalia does win with the sharpshooter. You could see Bianca and Bayley had a little bit of tension because Bayley just tried to proclaim herself the captain, and Bianca reminds her, like, hey, you didn't earn your spot. Me, Ruby, Liv, and whoever wins this match, we all earned our spot. You just got handpicked by Pierce, so, cool it with the captain stuff, all right? And, so you could see kind of a bit of conflict there. But yeah, Natalia wins with the sharpshooter on Tamina. That makes our women's team. So it is Bianca, Bayley, Ruby, Liv, and Natalia versus Lacey, Peyton, Shayna, Nia, and Lana are our two women's teams for Survivor Series.
I gotta tell you, man, with the addition of Natalia and the kind of bulking up of Raw's, women's team, going from the weaker duo of Dana and Mandy to the much stronger duo of Lacey and Peyton, this looks much more even now than it did even a week and a half ago. Because a week and a half ago, it was Nia, Shayna, Dana, Mandy, and did we have a fifth on Raw a week ago? I don't even remember. But there was that versus the trio so far of Liv, Ruby, and Bianca, and that's like, holy shit. Like, you don't even need anyone else on that team. Those three could take out everyone except for maybe Shayna and Nia, and at that point they would have the numbers advantage. So, like, yeah, I was convinced that SmackDown had the huge advantage, but right now, with the addition of Natalia weakening Team SmackDown, and the swaps that happened on Raw for Team Raw, I feel like this is pretty close to even. I mean, like, from a kayfabe power level standpoint, I think it's pretty close to even. I'm hoping that either Liv and or Ruby pins either Nia and or Shayna to get a tag title shot, because that would really be really cool. I would really like that.
Oh, bro, you and me both. So we're just going to save, again, more in-depth discussion about these matches for tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Yeah. We then go to a really great segment to me. Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns, a contract signing. Probably one of the best contract signings WWE has done in a minute.
Dude, I don't think Roman scared the shit out of me during this. He came off just like so, and I don't use this term lightly, but like quietly intimidating. It's fucking weird.
Dude, straight, like, I won't even say mafioso. I don't know what the equivalent
is. No, dude,
for,
but you're right. You're very mob, very,
oh my God, yeah.
Very mob boss, yeah, like, very much, like, I don't need to raise my voice, because if you cross me, someone's going to cross you off.
Yeah, exactly. I love that even though Jake Roberts is on AEW, I feel like more people are learning that you don't have to scream to be intimidating. Because Roman was like, here's the thing, guys. I don't want to, like, confuse anybody, because I was even thinking about saying this before it went live, just thinking about this segment. This was a chill contract signing in the sense that, like, nobody raised a voice, nobody flipped a table, but it was still,
it was so fucking good. I am more excited for Survivor Series than I have been for a WWE pay-per-view in a very long time. This show is absolutely fucking stacked, and it is wild to me that we're looking at a Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns match with absolutely zero stakes, and I am just stoked beyond belief for it. I am so fucking excited for this match. Holy shit.
Dude, I'm so glad you said that, because I say again, I don't know what it is. There's something about these two guys who are very clearly positioned as top guys.
Yeah.
And it feels so good to give a shit, because don't get me wrong, when I think back to like 2007, when they were really getting into Cena Orton, I cared at first. I'm like, yeah, these are two really young guys. It's a fresh matchup, whatever. But then they do it to death. if they're able to show restraint on this, which I think they have every reason to, given that they're on separate brands right now, this is something that if it's good the first time, I wouldn't mind revisiting because, dude, there's an energy here when these guys are in the same ring, and I buy it, and I'm into it, man.
It's one of those things where, like, Roman is intimidating and scary as fuck with his, like, quiet... I know that you're listening to every word I say right now because I know that if you don't, you know that you're going to miss out on something important and it's probably going to lead to you getting fucked up. That energy. But at the same time, you look across the table and Drew literally looks like he could fuck Roman up in an instant.
It does. It does. I mean, really, it's so weird because we've sung Drew's praises. We've defended Drew on the podcast. I think when people have been, in my mind, unnecessarily hard on him in his title reign. But it really does feel like Drew's the one with something to prove to Roman in this match. And that's like the most bizarre thing because, I mean, and I say this with all sincerity, look at him. Like, Drew doesn't need to prove shit to anybody, right? When you look like he does. And keep in mind, I think, and this is what's so great about Roman, though. I mean this just as much as a compliment to Roman as a positive appraisal of Drew. Drew beat Brock Lesnar in 5 minutes at WrestleMania. And you look at Roman and the role he's been on, and you really forget how significant that is. Because, like, Brock is, like, mowed down everybody. He rarely shows up. And we see what he does to people in matches, and we see what Brock Lesnar matches are like. But Roman has been in such a groove that you almost want to say, in the face of that very fact, which, again, in kayfabe, is no small deal what Drew did. But you look at Roman and you just want to be like, so? Like, it's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy, man. I love it.
It's like Drew has an appropriate amount of confidence for what he looks like and what he's capable of. And Roman is like almost capable as the same amount. Like, Roman's capabilities are not like significantly below Drew's, but his confidence is still just so much higher. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And their power level, they're both at like S tier power level, but Roman thinks he's at triple S power level, and Drew knows he's at S. He's like, yeah, I know that I'm an S tier. I know that I'm at the top of my food chain, basically. And meanwhile, Roman's just like, that's so cute that you think that you're at the top of the food chain, because what you don't realize is that your food chain is still under me, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to address Mark very quickly because I feel like people said this before when I talked about this pairing. Like, they've already had a match. This Drew McIntyre and this Roman Reigns specifically have not faced off.
Yeah, because, no. When did they last have a match? I'm curious. Was it this year? Did they have a match this year?
They might have had a match this year. I know they interacted, when Roman teamed with The Undertaker and Drew teamed with Shane at that one Extreme Rules pay-per-view. But, like, Drew was a heel, and Roman was still the fucking babyface, that was like, whatever. This Roman Reigns, it's on his shit, and the Drew that's like a white-hot babyface.
Yeah, dude, they literally have not interacted with each other this year at all. I guess... if you count the Royal Rumble, I think they technically have, because they were both in the Royal Rumble. But the last time that these dudes were against each other, you have to go all the way back to Crown Jewel. And if you don't want to count the Saudi shows, it was, so far. No,
they're saying Mania 35. Chat's saying Mania 35.
Yeah, dude, it was, the more recent one is the No Holds Barred match, where it was the tag match. It was Reigns and Taker versus McIntyre and McMahon. And again, those were completely different versions of these characters, like you said. I mean, dude, the last time these guys had a singles match with each other was Stomping Grounds last year. That was in June. We're talking about 17 months ago.
Yeah, I guess I just bring that up to make the point that I don't think it's fair to compare. To say, like, they already had a match when, even though that's objectively true, I think you have to qualify that these guys both have had significant character shifts since that time. And the character shifts they have now, it's like, okay, now I'm ready to see this. And so, yeah, we'll see how it goes. And to be honest, I've already forgotten about the Mania matchup they're referring to, but with the characters as high as they are right now, this is probably going to stay in my memory for a bit longer than that, at least I hope. I love here that Drew just tells Roman, like, you've got a few days to get ready for me. I suggest you take advantage of it. And Roman just goes on this whole tirade about Drew giving him advice.
Yeah.
He's like, you're on my show. Like, I run this. You don't give me advice. I give you advice. And he calls Drew like a B tier champion, like a second rate champion, but like you're my favorite second tier champion, and like just signs the contract and you smoke. And then I gotta say, like, I love the dynamic Paul Heyman has with him, because we're so used to Paul Heyman being smug, knowing Lesnar is gonna protect him, getting in people's faces. I never thought what would take me to get interested in Paul Heyman again is him being more quiet and reserved. Because, like, they had a great moment here when Roman's just done down-dressing Drew, right? Where he, like, gestures for Heyman to get him his championship. Yep. And Heyman just hurries, almost trips over himself to get Roman his title and, like, place it over his shoulder. I love the dynamic. Like, everything. Like, what were some of your highlights, man? Talk to me about this segment a little bit more in-depth. What did you really like here? Because I just...
like, the way that Roman really dressed Drew down and was like... if they can't, the only time that you're the top guy is when I'm not around. Like, that line kind of stung. And then, like, the idea of, like, oh, Roman doesn't want to do it, let's just get Drew to do it, he'll do anything. Like, it was almost like the kind of insults that you would expect to hear on The Miz, and this is Drew fucking McIntyre. Like, it was kind of blowing my mind that Roman was going in on him like that.
Yeah, dude. He fucking roasted. And again, we like Drew, and that's even crazier. Like, this isn't even like an anti-Drew space or whatever. Like, no, I've enjoyed his work. I'm happy he's champion again. Again, great babyface, but Roman is on top of his game right now. I have never seen anybody, when I think about our TWitWoW awards, and really just a little over a month, which is crazy that they're that close already. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody make a fucking sprint for Superstar of the Year like Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Honest to God. Like, it is like, he came in so late into the game because he returned at SummerSlam. So he returned, I guess, for the second half of the year, and he has just been sprinting to try and be like, because we've been praising, the Oscars, and Becky before she got pregnant, she seemed like she was going to get ready to do it again. There have been a lot of people that have stepped up. Bailey's another big one, and Roman's just like, I'm going to circle him as best I can, and man, he's really making a go at it, man. It's fucking wild. So this is great. I love that they didn't touch each other. I cannot tell you how important that is. I didn't want a cheap shot. I didn't want a Superman punch, a Claymore, none of that shit. I just wanted us to, do the contract and save it for Sunday, and they did. I thought that was really smart. So great contract signing. Is there anything else you want to say about this?
No, I think I've said my piece.
All right, we get Seth Rollins versus Murphy. Murphy is accompanied by the Mysterio family in the form of Ray, Dominic, and, of course, Aaliyah, who commentary refers to as his girlfriend, and it's just never going to not be weird. Yeah. I will say, though, about this match, great effort from both guys. I think the bump that stood out to me the most, Jesus Christ, after Seth once again beat the shit out of the Mysterio family, because he just can't get enough of it, I guess. Murphy was going to the top rope, I think, to try and mount an offensive, because he got Seth off of Dominic, and he's like, okay, now I'm going to do something. Goes to the top rope. Seth pushes him off, and Murphy's back hits the barricade. I've seen spots like that plenty of times. There was something about the way Murphy took it that my body just tensed up, dude. I was like, that was, but yeah, Murphy, fucking sold his ass off.
As Seth always.
Dude, fucking, we got some amazing sellers in this company right now, I'll tell you.
I'm starting to really be convinced that, the selling and bumping part is, the most fundamental thing that you need to be good at in order to be a good wrestler, and if you don't have that, you're just never going to be a good wrestler.
Yeah, I actually am inclined to agree with you.
I think that's part of the reason why I've been kind of coming around on Saya Ida and Stardom, and why I don't, hate her or anything. I just kind of acknowledge that she's got a certain ceiling,
Yeah, for sure, man, because I think you look at it this way. It's important if you're a babyface because you want to be sympathetic, and it's important if you're a heel because you want to be able to take a comeuppance and get people into you getting your comeuppance.
Exactly.
So however you slice it, right, it's important. So you're looking at genuinely, when you can apply it to both sides equally, that's what you call a fundamental. You both need to know it if you're going to succeed. It's not like you could skip out on this or whatever. So Murphy's fucking great at it. That's no surprise. Rollins does get a stop, but Murphy has that ring presence, get his foot on the rope. I like how, that does protect Rollins, but it also does completely bitch out Murphy. Murphy gets a bunch of V-triggers. And Rollins is just stunned. He doesn't know what the fuck to do. Murphy gets Murphy's Law, and he fucking pins Seth Rollins.
Yep.
Great.
I did not expect Murphy to win here. I really with the way that they have been kind of treating Murphy over the course of the last year or so when he's been on the main roster, I've been convinced that he's never going to be, I kind of have it in my mind that he's just going to be fodder. Like, he's just going to be, he's going to be the guy that eats pins in tag matches with Seth, and when the break finally does come, he's just going to be a launching point to get Seth back in the main event scene. But no, he actually won here, which blew my mind.
Yeah, I think I only kind of expected it to, because I already told you, I saw the rumor that Seth is going to be possibly taking time off after Survivor Series, I think, because of, Becky's pregnancy and everything.
Do we have anything official as far as if Murphy versus Seth is happening?
Wait, if Murphy versus Seth is what do you mean? I'm confused by what you're asking.
At Survivor Series.
Well, no, because Seth's on the SmackDown Survivor Series team.
Oh, I forgot. I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, you confused me there because I'm we just had the match. So yeah, I just got confused by what you meant.
I'm just feeling like this was okay, so this is one match. Seth's going to want to come back for more, and I'm expecting some kind of series, even if it only takes place over the course of a month or even a couple weeks. I just don't. I feel like. Let me put it this way. I feel like Murphy beating Seth in one match is not enough of a reason for Seth to just not be around for however long it's going to take for him to be back from his paternity leave.
Right. I'll tell you what, though, man. Murphy winning this, I think I said this on Smackdown TWitWoW last week, with Otis tied up with Chad Gable and doing whatever, I've moved on to my whole big mid-card Universal title matchup being Murphy versus Reigns for Rumble. I'd love that match for Rumble. Because here's the thing.
See, and I was thinking Murphy Zayn for the IC title.
Maybe. I honestly, I'd almost prefer that for a Mania, unless they're planning on doing Zayn Bryan again, which honestly I could see, because they've really done a slow burn with those guys. That would be
sexy.
That would be a full circle thing. But no, I only say that, man, because you beat a guy as big as Seth Rollins, you got to be able to do some of that, but that's purely conjecture. I don't want to get too into that. Royal Rumble's going to be here before you know it, and we'll have plenty to say about that. We do the Rumble minigame, we do the in-depth commentary, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Not even 2 full months, I don't think.
Yeah. After the match, Sasha Banks' music immediately hits. I'm just going to be honest. So it's a face-to-face with her and Asuka. I didn't like this. I don't like. I'm just gonna be truthful. I don't like Sasha's promos that much. I think she's an amazing in-ring worker. I've started to reassess how I feel about her as a talker.
I'm glad that I'm not the only one. I literally was actually talking about this with Mark in the Discord within the last week or two. Basically just saying that Sasha's promos right now are probably the worst they've ever been. I feel like she's way too try-hard on the mic right now. I feel like she's trying to give off this confidence that, it's the boss vibes or whatever, but it just comes off as fake it till you make it. She's trying way too hard to be arrogant, and it just almost comes off as heelish when she's supposed to be a face. And especially in this segment, she came off as very heelish to me.
Yeah, dude, I just didn't like it. Yeah. I just didn't like it. I thought it was, to be honest, I thought it was a bit annoying.
Yep.
And
her cadence has definitely changed over the years.
I'm starting to rethink my opinion on Sasha a little bit as a whole, even truthfully, because to be honest, again, I still love her as an in-ring performer, and I think in WWE, it's still true that she gives everybody their best match. But it's funny because and I've seen Javaris say it, and really, Javaris, I have to credit you for this because you really got me thinking. And I know I said this before she came back, it would have been great to see Sasha in Stardom, would have been great to see. But then I'm thinking to myself, would it have been though? Because if you're, and again, I felt this way for a little bit, and I don't know if I'm gonna have a death squad coming at me, but this is just how I feel. If you're Sasha, she's playing it smart, right? Because she's young. You obviously want to make your money. You want to be financially secure, and not only that, you get to be perceived by the fans and by the company because you've earned it. Because again, you're an astounding in-ring worker relative to WWE as the big fish in the small pond. But I'm thinking if she goes to Stardom, she competes with Mayu. She competes with Tam. I would say to a point she competes with Bea Priestley, at least in the ring. I mean, I'd still say Sasha's better, but I'm sure people would have a debate about that. Hypothetically, if Arisa was still around, I think that would have been huge competition for Sasha. And I feel like we were saying that about Sasha at the time when Arisa was still around.
Yeah.
And The best thing about it, though, would have been Sasha would have only cut very short promos. So they would have actually taken the one thing that she's really, at least to me, not very good at right now. So I'm like, I don't know about that, because I think if you're Sasha, you got a really sweet deal where, like, not many women, because even the 4 horsewomen, I mean, Charlotte can fuck off, and I think Sasha definitely has competition in different ways between, with Bayley and Becky, particularly on the mic. But she's, like, one of the best in-ring workers in the company. Why trade that when your competition gets a lot stiffer when you go to a company like Stardom? Because like watching Konami and Julia and Utami Mayu with you, I'm like, Sasha would have fucking bangers with these people, but she wouldn't be known as the best. I genuinely believe that.
See, I think that was kind of my whole thing, though, with Stardom. I don't want Sasha to go to Stardom to prove that she's a better wrestler than the Stardom girls. I want her to go to Stardom because her best matches are her matches with the best wrestlers. So she would have one hell of a pool to pick from. So we would get just banger after banger from Sasha in Stardom because she'd have so much great talent to work with. Whereas in WWE, it's like a 1 in 4 chance that she's working with somebody that's anywhere close to being on the level that would be acceptable in Stardom. And the other 3 is like Lacey Evans, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke Garbage, and fucking Carmella now too. Like we're in the 75% right now with the Carmella feud incoming. So that's like, okay, we just kind of have to bide our time until we get a new roll of the dice to find out who Sasha's next opponent's going to be, because it might be someone good.
And then and again, like, I think it's a good deal if you're Sasha, because you get all, like, the big opportunities and stuff, because, again, you, relative to the talent pool you're working with, she definitely deserves them, right? But, like, why fight for scraps when you know if she would go to another company with more competent performers overall, you're not immediately seen as the best. So I've just been kind of reassessing my opinion on Sasha.
Yeah, dude, I will say, too, I don't think that this is like a hindsight, maybe she was never that good thing. I think that this really is a change. I think this really is like a shift in her promo style, in her cadence, in her character, all of the above. Because if you would have asked me the same question, say 6 months ago, when she was a heel running with Bayley, I would have been like, yeah, she's one of the best promos in the world. I really, really do believe that. And even like, I think there's also a factor of, let's think back to the last time that we didn't like Sasha's promos. It was when she was a fucking babyface. Sasha is just not a good babyface promo. I feel like we've established that for a long time on this channel. We used to bag on her all the time when she was trying to cut babyface promos, when she was, breaking off from Team Bad and feuding with Charlotte on Raw and shit. She is not a good babyface promo. She is much more in her pocket when she is able to cut a promo as a heel. And frankly, in this promo, it felt like she was trying to be a heel, even though we're supposed to like her right now.
Which, that's a shame, because Asuka's such an endearing babyface. I wish Sasha was the heel here.
Yeah.
Because, to me, that's
it's just weird, though, because like they like threw it back to SummerSlam and that kind of time period when they were feuding. And it's almost like the WWE is actively trying to remind us, like, oh yeah, Sasha was a jerk not that long ago. Why should we like her now? And then she's just like, hey guys, don't worry, I'm still a jerk. Like, it feels like they're actively trying to get us not to root for her.
Yeah, dude, like, I think what I kind of wanted from this personally was for Sasha to, like, own up to that recap in a way. Like, yeah, we did do these things to Asuka and, maybe even name drop Kairi just to kind of make it a bit more personal, even though she's not, like, with the company anymore. And be like, but you know what, Asuka, it's different now because I'm standing on my own 2 feet and I don't have to worry about Bayley, and it's not about drama and this and that. It's about which champion is the best. Like, I feel like it would have been safer for her to almost cut a by-the-numbers babyface promo that makes acknowledgement of the past. And then Asuka, like, I just feel like they missed each other here, because I didn't dislike what Asuka did. She even quoted the Road Dogg, and I kind of chuckled at that because I didn't expect her to do that. But, like, Asuka has got this frenetic energy in her promos. Like, she's very fast and comes out with you a lot. And Sasha, I think, is trying to be all, poised and serious and this and that. And it wasn't a good mix on this night.
And we also got the fucking dreaded, pet name for the women when one of them's trying to be a heel and insult the other. Sasha called Asuka sweetheart at least once.
I thought about you and I winced myself. I'm like, oh, god damn it.
Yep. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, it really is like she's trying to be like a witty, cheeky baby face, and that's when the sweethearts start dropping. That was how Paige was too back in the day.
Yeah. So then we get the the fucking Carmella. I was about to say Lana, but I knew that was
yeah,
Carmella
she attacked Sasha. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man, and Asuka just stood by and watched, which, like, you know, I don't know if they meant it as, like, oh, can you believe she's not over? But no, like, I'm Raw. This is great.
I'm interpreting this. I'm interpreting this as one of two things happened. Either number one, Asuka was told to just let it happen because the whole story is like you want to win on Sunday and you feel like it makes your odds better to win and you're not a bad guy, but you're also not necessarily a full-blown good guy. We need to keep you tweener just in case we want to have a babyface challenge you on Raw. Or the other option, which I personally think is more likely, Asuka didn't know this was going to happen and she didn't know how to react. She had no clue that Carmella was going to attack Sasha after the contract signing and she just didn't know what to do. She didn't want to like attack Carmella because she didn't know how that would be handled backstage, so she just stayed out of it.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't fault Asuka. I don't know if in WWE's mind, and again, I'm genuinely saying, like, I don't know. I'm not trying to say this, like, negatively to cast blame on them. Yeah. I don't know how they wanted me to feel about this. I don't blame her. Not my monkeys, not my circus, man. I'm looking the other way. I'm representing my brand.
Yep.
You know, that's a Lana, or excuse me, see, I knew I was going to do it. God damn it, that's a Carmella and Sasha problem. And Carmella, again, should it be a bad feud? Honestly, though, I'm more just looking forward to getting it over with and seeing what's going to happen for Sasha, you know, down the road, especially with Mania season right around the corner. And I'll say this, early prediction for Sasha for Mania, I would like to think Bianca. I mean, that's my ideal, just like Big E was my ideal for a lot of things, and you see how that's going. Right now, though, what I'm thinking, we could very well get Sasha Rhea at WrestleMania if they are going to call Rhea up. Be on the Survivor Series team. Well, actually, no, that's not going to happen because Natalya is. So I don't even know what they're going to do with Rhea, but I'm guessing a call-up might be imminent. What else is she going to do? So that's my early thought on that. Carmella lays her out. And then we get a Jey Uso interview. What'd you think about this, man? Didn't like it?
It's not that I didn't like it. It's more that I didn't really know what to make of it because it's one of those situations where, like, it almost brings me back to the episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that we just got done watching, where basically they call Ward weak and a coward for just doing whatever the fuck Garrett tells him to do. And that kind of feels like the same situation here with Jey, but we literally saw what the other option was for Jey on TV. We know that he's basically powerless in this situation, so we can't blame him. He's also a victim. It's really complex, and I don't know how to feel about it.
Yeah, I enjoy it because Jey, like, we know what's really going on, but he's trying to embrace it, like, nah, that was all me, you know, like, I'm capable of making my own decisions. I'm the one that laid you out, and, you know, I'm going, you know, do it again tonight, like popping his chest out. It's like, okay, Jey, you know, you do you, bud. But then we do get our main event, Jey Uso versus Daniel Bryan, and, like, I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed that these guys only had, like, the one match where Daniel Bryan was pretty much the fodder for Jay's completed heel turn. Yep. You know, just, like, stay in the family. So that's it. Just, like, the one match. And this felt like if you would have plopped me in front of the TV, no knowledge, no anything, with how physical this match was to me, I would have thought that this feud would have been going on, like, the last few months. How is it that this one interaction felt more physical in a non-hokey way, I might add?
And dude, another really interesting thing is, I don't know if you picked up on this. I'm assuming you did, but I never know I just shouldn't assume anything at this point because I just never know. But Jey was almost using the same logic that Roman used on him on Bryan.
Yeah,
because exactly. Roman would beat the shit out of Jey and then say, "I love you, Uso, I love you." And here we had Jey beating the shit out of Bryan and saying, "It's not personal, Bryan. It's not personal." Like, oh, he's like emulating the head of the table. It's wild. It's amazing. I love Smackdown right now.
Dude, it's such great writing to me. And
I was like literally while you were doing your intro tonight, as we were entering into this show, and because the last thing that you kind of said before we went live was about how you really liked the main event. And then we even talked about how much we love the main event in our intro and that kind of stuff. But I had in my mind, like, if you did not watch the WWE for anyone other than Daniel Bryan, you would think the WWE is the best product on the fucking planet because everything Daniel Bryan does is gold. There's nothing has to turn to gold when it's Bryan because he just emanates the gold. He is the gold.
Yeah, I no disagreements here. Honestly, I think you're right on the money with that. Again, what was I even saying earlier? Oh yeah, like this was more physical to me than like most of the, and a non-hokey way. That's what I wanted to say before you interjected. It was more physical in a non-hokey way than most of the Mysterio Rollins feud. Because the Mysterio Rollins feud, you have these gimmicky matches of like I
you're
resign
right.
this and that.
You're absolutely right.
And like this was just physical, like these two guys beating the shit. Like not to get weird, but this would be like a kind of physical altercation, like between two best friends when you found out one slept with like the wife or the girlfriend of the other one, and they found out, and like they're just fucking killing each other. And it's not about I'm gonna take your eye out or I'm gonna get your family involved. No, these are just two guys squaring up and taking care of business. Like I love that. I love the backdrop that Jay got to Brian through the announce table. I love the cross faces that Brian got early on in like the Indian deadlock position on Jay, you know, kind of using his mat game, which incidentally, before Brian, because I don't know, very early on when he first came back or whatever, they're like, oh, it's going to be the last run because obviously he's got another child on the way. I can't have Brian leave WWE for good until we get a Daniel Bryan Timothy Thatcher matchup in WWE. I don't even care if they're both working like.
Didn't he come out recently and say he feels like he's got 2 more years left or something like that?
I hope so. I honestly couldn't tell you, and I don't want to like feed dead air trying to figure that out, like if I do remember it or not. But if he did, please, dear God, please find a way to bring Thatcher and Bryan in the same space. I don't even care if they're both heel. If anything, this would be one great heel versus heel matchup because they'd both try and out-torture the other one. And like, I'm here for that. I am 100% unapologetically here for that. Can I just say too, as far as the booking of the matchup goes, I love how can I put this? Like Jay genuinely feels legit. Like it's not one of those things where, because I know we've taken the joke from Mean Girls, right? Like stop making insert thing here happen. It's never gonna happen.
Right.
But like main event Jay Uso, I don't feel that way. Like I buy it. The way he's able to hang with these guys in the main event.
Absolutely, yes. He's so good, and that's the thing is like. When you have the talent, at this point, I don't give a shit what you look like. If you have the talent, you can be a main eventer. I don't care.
Dude, yes. Like, I 100% agree with you, because why I'm even saying this to you, the spot in the match where Brian just is really on the come up, and it's like, oh my God, is he about to end this already because he's calling for knee plus? And Jay just intercepts him with the 2 super kicks. And, like, it went off in my brain like, no way, is Jay going to beat Brian again? And then they actually protect Jay Uso because Brian gets his knees up from the Uso splash and he cradles him. So Mr. Small Package, right? Making a comeback.
Yep.
Yeah. Dude, again, Jay Uso and Kofi Kingston, not separated by that much time, all things considered. WWE has proven again, when we care and we really want to make you something because you're associated with somebody that we have made something and that we want to continue to sustain as something, we got you. 100% we got you. You're not alone in this because Jay, I hate to say it because I fucking adore the Usos. How are the Usos going to work after this unless hopefully they give Jimmy the same treatment in a way, like in his own way, because it's going to feel so asymmetrical if Jimmy was to just come back and be like, oh, hey, Us, let's go after the tag titles. Tag titles? Bitch, at best I want to be fucking Intercontinental Champion after this run I'm having. I've done tag gold. We've made our mark in tag team wrestling. Like, that's how good of a job I feel like they've done with Jay Uso, where, like, I adore the Usos, but something wouldn't sit right with me if they just went back to tagging like nothing happened. Because something has happened. Jay has had this run. He's had these matches. He's beaten the likes of Kevin Owens and Daniel Bryan, for God's sakes. That's got to mean something. If nothing else, it's got to mean something to the character. And again, I say this all as praise, not as like a cautionary tale or whatever. No, I love all of it. I just don't know how you go back to normal after you do something so wonderful. So Brian gets the win. The commentary makes a note that Jimmy's going to have to answer. Excuse me, Jay. Had Jimmy on the brain there. Jay is going to have to answer to Roman. And it's great because if Roman chews him out, like, it's gotten to the point with me where, like, obviously Roman should defend the title at Mania. But if they were to fucking swerve us, dude, and be like, haha, psych, the Mania match is actually a rematch between Jay and Roman now that Jay has gained confidence being under Roman that he can beat him this time, you'd still sell me, honestly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate it. I'd be like, I'd really prefer Roman to be the champion because I think, and I say this with all the love and sincerity in the world, Roman has fucking earned being champion at WrestleMania in 2021. But if you wanted to go, we're doing this again, but it's a different Jey Uso because he's been under Roman's tutelage, so he's learned from the guy that he's now trying to beat. Let's do it. Let's do it. It's amazing what they've done with these guys. This went from a feud that I'm like, oh, cool, I love it when they experiment and Jay's a great talker, to, oh my God, they have just sustained this into one of the best things SmackDown has going. Mm-hmm. So, do you have anything you want to add, man? Because
I don't want to keep us going here. You said everything perfectly. Let's just go.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Then our next segment is high spots, low shots. My low shot, keep it simple, Seth Rollins. I mean, the dude lost to Rey Mysterio last week, so he lost the feud there. Then he wanted to take it out on Murphy, who, like, I made you and this and that. Well, your creation, just bested you here. So it's been a rough 2 weeks for Seth, and just focusing on this week, yeah, he lost a match. And here's the thing, too. That's baggage that's going to carry over into the Survivor Series team. So Seth now, everybody's going to be looking at him like, yo, bro, you got your shit together? Because, like, obviously Murphy psychologically affected him with his betrayal. Now he's lost to Murphy. What condition is Seth going to be in mentally to be a part of that Survivor Series team? Like, no wonder he's taking time off, because if he was sticking around, I honestly would believe, like, if they would lose, which, again, we'll lock in our predictions tomorrow night at 10 p.m., that everybody would be looking to him like, yo, Seth, you dropped the fucking ball. I thought you were the Messiah. So Seth's world's kind of unraveling right now. Yeah, we'll get more into that tomorrow for preview predictions, but it hasn't been good. So who's your low shot?
I'm going to keep mine simple. It's Sasha Banks. She had a pretty poor performance on her promo. She kind of, even though she had a lot of, like, I'm bragging and I'm a lot of histrionics, I guess I should just say, as far as just, like, really trying to kind of talk herself and everyone else into believing that she's going to be able to beat Asuka on Sunday. We have literal physical evidence that that Asuka has her number. And she then got attacked from behind by Carmella. So again, like, she can't seem to get this monkey off her back. So a lot of stuff working against Sasha on this show.
Yeah. It's funny that was your low shot, because my high spot is Bayley. And, like, the adage is, what have you done for me lately? And yet that doesn't apply to Bayley, because despite the fact that most recently she lost her rematch to Sasha Banks for the Women's Championship, that didn't undo her entire body of work over the last year to be handed a spot on Team Smackdown. Adam Pearce just chooses her. She doesn't have to do a qualifying match or anything. So Bayley is going to be one of the freshest people on the women's team on Sunday, because she didn't have to lift a finger to get on the team. And again, her biggest blunder as of late, again, if we were to apply what have you done for me lately, was lose a rematch for a championship that she held for over a year. So it's still really good to be Bayley, despite all appearances to the contrary. She is an easy high spot for me. Got on a pay-per-view without even breaking a sweat. Who's your high spot?
That's fair. My honorary high spot, actually, is going to go to Daniel Bryan, just because he won the main event tonight. He had a great promo. He just had a really, really good night. But at the end of the day, nobody made me feel things tonight more than the head of the table himself, Roman Reigns. So Roman Reigns is my high spot.
Excellent pick, bro. I love that pick. That's great. All right, guys. With that said, this has been Smackdown. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my co-ordinator commentary action. Guys, be sure to like the video. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top search result for SmackDown reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong. So please leave that like. Be sure to comment down below when this video is done processing. How hyped are you for Survivor Series this Sunday? What did you think of the contract signing between Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre? How have you felt about the development, the evolution of Jey Uso into main event Jey Uso? Do you feel like they're sustaining it? Or are you still as interested in him as you were back at Clash of Champions when he got his first opportunity? Talk to us. Be sure to check out everything we're a part of down in the description box, specifically the Discord and the Patreon. Patreon, of course, you can find out all of our breakdowns, all the things that you could be a part of when you financially donate to the TWitWoW community. Two biggest things: Q&A. That is going to be November 26th, so in 6 days. We do Q&A the last Thursday of every month. And if you want to get in on that, you donate to the Patreon $1. You get up to 5 Q&A questions. Now, you don't need to donate to the Patreon to be a part of Q&A, but non-Patreon donors only get 3 Q&A questions. So if you're an avid listener to the show and you're like, yeah, I can appreciate 3 questions, but there's something I really want to ask these guys so I can benefit from the other 2. Only $1 a month, and you get 2 additional questions. So do consider it. And then the TWitWoW Discord, great community, great people. Only costs $3 a month to be a part of, so do consider getting membership into our Discord. Obviously, follow us both on Twitter. Ashton's pinned tweet is the schedule breakdown for all of our commentaries per month. I encourage everybody to always take a good look at that, mainly because that's far better than my recapping ability could ever hope to be. And my Twitter, which is a pinned tweet to receive Q&A questions. Submit Q&A questions, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Discord. Most immediately, guys, I'm just going to keep the focus on Survivor Series since that's kind of the theme here. Tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, Survivor Series preview and predictions. Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Survivor Series live reactions. Monday Night Raw, it's the post-Survivor Series Raw. We're going to be doing a Rocket League stream, looking at all the fallout from Survivor Series, which champions and teams triumphed, which champions and teams failed. And then post-Survivor Series Smackdown, we'll be doing the exact same thing, Rocket League stream. Obviously, we have the usual stuff in between. Any Stardom shows that fully get up, that we anticipate we're obviously going to live react to. NXT reviews at 10 p.m. That's obviously going to happen. But again, keeping it on Survivor Series, the big things you want to know is preview predictions at 10 p.m. tomorrow, live reaction 7 p.m. on Sunday, Rocket League stream for Raw at 8, Rocket League stream for SmackDown at 8.
I also just want to interject here because we also have 5 Fave 5s on Wednesday at 5 and then Q&A on Thursday.
Yes, Q&A will be this Thursday. So again, 6 days, get your Q&A questions in. And then Wednesday at 5 Fave 5s. It's going to be a great list this time around, guys. I am really excited for that, maybe even more than usual, just because I've really thought about what I'm going to have on my lists. I think you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised how it all goes. So, guys, that's it. We're getting out of here. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Stay safe out there. We're this close to Thanksgiving, so remember what you're thankful for. I'm thankful that all you guys enjoy the content that we produce. We'll be seeing you again soon. Until then, tune in,